music. I'll try and make a little loop. Just a little vibe. So for me, one of the things that excites me the most with music is trying to create something that is exciting. And in that sense, soloing and improvising is something that I really, really care about. Let's add a few chords. So what I want to talk about today is actually 10 ideas, 10 concepts, maybe 10 levels of improvising with what we know. So we don't need to learn a lot of things. I'm gonna add one more layer here. C, A minor, F. Simple. So the first step is understanding the center. So for me, like just taking a simple framework like C major, making sure I can hear it and see it. So this shape, this, muscle memory is clear enough so I can create. The same way we speak a language, we understand the words and we can utilize them to create and express something. The second thing that we're going to do is just locking something very simple. Just one idea that we can express in a clear way. And you can do it even if you just picked up the instrument not too long ago. Something simple. That's it. Now notice that I'm repeating the same phrase and trying to kind of feel the groove, feel the vibe. The idea here, I know it doesn't matter if you play this line. The point is that by practicing clear framework, clear concepts, that are like cells of goodness that are locked in time, we progress a lot. So when you're practicing, even if you just want to improvise on a simple loop, you want to make sure that your building blocks are tight. And one of the great and really fun ways is coming up with short ideas that are locked in time. One more. Two notes, but there's music here. You. The next thing I want to talk about is what I just did randomly, was closing my eyes. So music is a very emotional thing for me, and I think sometimes we kind of get caught up with looking at the framework, looking at the fingerboard, and getting stressed, So it's important to just try and connect to the music. So I know it's not a meditation session here, but just let's try to improvise something with our eyes closed. Even if we make a mistake, it's fine. We know the framework or we're working on that, but let's try to close our eyes so the sensory, the information from the senses will just be sound, okay? No visuals. There is something very emotional and deep when you just kind of shut off the visuals, and it's something that it took me quite a bit of time to feel comfortable, because I was like, but I don't know where I am. Well, we have to do that jump and try, and once you do it more and more, it gets easier, and it's interesting because it's allowing more listening, and that's beautiful. The next thing I want to talk about is singing, and I'm not gonna do a singing exercise right now, but what I do want to do is I want to sing the line that we're playing, which is a little easier than imagining and singing, which is of course important. We talked about it in quite a few occasions here on the channel. So right now what I'm gonna do is just try to follow my line. So even if it's not 100%, I'm gonna try my best, right? So so the idea here is, by practicing in that way, when you're playing and making sounds and you're trying to match them, we diminish the gap or the distance between our fingers, our heart, our mind, and our ears. So when we hear a sound, and it could be later on, maybe even more chromatic, but for now I would start with a place that is like really simple and melodic, so you can follow the line in a clear way. Another thing that I found really helpful, I think for me music is very important. Sometimes maybe it's too important, and what happens is I'll get stressed or I'll get nervous if it's a show or just I'm trying to do something and it's not going the way I imagine it to go. So I started taking some voice lessons just for fun, and one of the things that we'll talk about in those sessions is a lot of breathing, which is really cool, and it's something that I'm aware of and trying to be more and more aware of. But the point here is that it actually influences a whole lot of how we play and how we feel. So I'm gonna take a breath 4 counts, exhale 4 counts, again like meditation session or something, but we're gonna do it twice and then we're gonna play a few lines, and you'll see the difference. And that's kind of amazing how fast we can go from almost point A to point B just by breathing. So we're gonna do it. Guess it's 8. Okay, I guess it could be 4 if you count at halftime. So now I'm gonna play something. I'm already more chill. What can I do? And it's interesting also where we take the breath when we play. Sometimes it will be at the end of the phrase. So I'm trying to kind of be aware of that connection between the line, the music, and the breathing. And I think all these things are very much linked. In jazz, we're oftentimes dealing with songs that have lyrics. In Baroque as well, there's a lot of lyrics, a lot of religious context, but there are lyrics to a lot of these pieces, and they're very much connected to that. Even in jazz, again, when we improvise on a song, the song is always in the background, so there is text information which is almost breathing because it's words. It's very interesting. Before I continue, I did want to share that recently I wrote a little book thing, and this book is basically things that I practice every morning, kind of like the first 30 to almost an hour practice, depends. It's very technical, but it really freed a lot of my connection between the two hands, because I always felt that I couldn't express to the fullest what I'm hearing. And after practicing these ideas for quite some months, and some of them a little longer, I felt and feel much better. There's a better connection, and I can do things I couldn't do before. So I just want to kind of share it with you guys. You can check it out if that's helpful. Next point. So here also, a lot of people, including myself, we're trying to play, a lot of things. Sometimes all we need is and then space. Space is a scary place because, I don't know, it's like the emptiness. but I'm trying to think about it and embrace the space. And it's a process, but it's a great thing to practice. Okay, I said something, I can pause. And the point of these conversations that we're having is, I'm just using C major scale. Remember this position, nothing crazy, you know that. And you can make so much cool music with just that. And I think that's really magical, because you can have that positive feeling of creating and really making something really cool right now. You just need to kind of treat it in a different light and not feel that you're locked. On the contrary, you can close your eyes, you can breathe, you can do all these actions. Another thing that is worth mentioning is taking the framework, a little bit of technical concept and making sure we can play quarters. Just, I know it's simple, but then playing quarters and then soloing in the quarter note realm. So 3. Once I feel comfortable, maybe I'll solo with that subdivision. Next level, same idea with 8 notes. So, go 3. The framework, making sure that I can play it. It's like conjugating verbs. And now I'm gonna solo with 8 notes. Again, not only 8 notes, but mainly 8 notes. That's the subdivision that I'm in. And we can combine these elements, right? Leaving space, being conscious of it, being thoughtful of our breath, maybe closing our eyes and doing that. Next step is we're gonna have triplets. So first framework. So I'm thinking taki, ta, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the subdivision. Then I'm gonna solo using that. I also kind of want to thank all the Patreons for making all this happen, because I would never be able to buy this camera and do all these things without you guys. So really thank you. If you are interested in supporting and digging these videos and information, you can check the Patreon. There's a PDF for this video and a whole almost 2 years now of videos there. So thank you. Now I'm gonna try to connect and combine the 8 notes and triplets. And the last step, I'm gonna right now open up the fingerboard, not just for this position. And here is a cool exercise that I love doing, which is called continuity. Basically, we're gonna repeat the last 2 or couple notes, 2-3 notes of my last phrase in the new line. So let's say I'm playing something. So I ended. So I can just repeat those notes without even taking the rhythmic aspect. So my next phrase will be. So last phrase, starting with that idea. that, but I can change the rhythms, kind of hiding that idea. So and the cool thing about this exercise is that it kind of forces us to listen to what we played and also to find solutions. So right now harmonically we're just in C, there's less issues, but once we have songs with multiple centers like jazz or different songs that are just more chromatic or have more than one center, then we need to find harmonic solution. It's really cool and fun. I'm gonna keep on messing around with this. Thank you guys so much for listening and hanging out. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.